So you're sitting at your desk in the morning, right? You spend a lot of time analyzing the market and you notice that there's a lot of chop in the first 30 minutes, right? 9:30 to 10 a.m. It's very, very choppy and you're trying to figure out, man, is today going to be like this all day? Is there going to be a moment where there's a big move? And you start to ask the question, how can we time the market perfectly? Okay, now there is a daily narrative that you can come up with for any given session, which is going to help you find the major pivots down to the exact minute. You're not going to be able to do this all the time, but you're going to start to see price action over and over again. And for the price action that you recognize, you will be able to do this. So I'm going to use an example from last Friday, June 7th. This is a trade, or really a setup that we called out in my trading community. And I want to bring it to you all really as an example of how we can get intuition about what the market is going to do in a day from a timing perspective, right? Regardless of the actual price action itself. If you are someone who just got an account here with MyFundedFutures, it doesn't really matter the account type. Being able to do this is going to save you a lot of headache, because what it's going to allow you to do is you will be able to essentially not pay attention to the market until it hits these critical times. This can vary based off of the type of price action that we have, but we'll root it in a very, actually, I guess, real world example in this case. If you're new here, my name is Forrest. I make videos over on my own channel, which is linked down below, as well as trader education videos for MyFundedFutures. If you want an account with MyFundedFutures, click the link down below. Despite being here on their channel, I personally think that they have the best overall value, right? Regardless of promos or anything. Full price, you go get an account with MyFundedFutures. I think at full price, they have the best value, which is why I ultimately got an agreement with them. I use them, tons of other people use them. But yeah, let's get into the video. All right, so the first thing that we have to do when we're coming up with a daily narrative is we have to look at the daily chart. So I've pulled up NQ on the 1 hour, on the 1 day. And you can see I have a bunch of lines here. This is my actual chart that I use to trade from. So it's marked up. We'll talk about what we have here really quickly. We're not necessarily going to use all this. I just want to talk about what's on my screen just so that we're all on the same page. So I have lines here at key levels that I think are key at least. We have on the right side the visible range volume profile, right? I trade using auction market theory, so I'm always looking for where people are participating in the market, right? So this indicator shows us volume at price. What else do we have here? Yeah, the major price targets. We also talk about the value area high, POCs, things like that. So if we go down to the 1 hour, for example, you can see here that I have the 6.5 POC marked, and we can see that we have the volume profile per session marked as well. So one standard deviation of volume is shown between the purple lines. The low line we call the value area low. The top line we call the value area high. And the price in the session with the most transactions, right, where most of the volume has happened, is marked in the red line. We call it the point of control. So it's really just, again, within the session, where have most of the trades happened. And we can see that for each session, these become key magnets in the market. Cool. So what do we have on the daily chart? Looking at the daily, we had a nice big buy up here off of this bottom wick, right? Very obvious signal here, this bottom wick on the daily. And we had continuation here. If you look at even just from the close of this daily up to the high, if you would have went long off that entry, we had around 589 points. Pretty big signal candle in that case. At the highs here, we have a lower volume doji, right? At an all-time high in the market. We did a high volume doji right next to it. Now, if we do bar replay going back to this date, really one more day, we were calling for possibly another doji, what I call an inside day, right? So I'm expecting chop. We also had a really, really big day here as shown. Whoops, and put that back. On the 5th, Wednesday the 5th. Okay, really, really big day. We come back on Thursday. It's a chop day. Fridays, right? You have to remember Fridays in general tend to not be too crazy, right? So we had another inside day. I know from experience that after a big move in a doji on the daily, we're probably going to get another doji on the daily, right? A doji candle is shown by a body with 2 equal size wicks. That's what we got. And it's very common for us to replicate these back to back as the market searches for, really consolidates, right? So I'm expecting for us to consolidate on the daily, which means on the lower time frames, we should get price action that denotes the same. So here is that Thursday price action, right? Ranging between both ends of this high volume node. We can see we have this POC here from 6.5. We have the top of the market. And as we start to play these candles for Friday, you can see that they range inside as well. Go figure. What's important here though, is that we expected this. So on the lower time frames, if I'm expecting an inside range day, something to stay within the bounds of these key areas, if we go to something like the 5 minute and go to the open on Friday, we can get intuition about what we expect. Okay, so overnight had a nice little gradual move up, and then they sold off. There was some data at 8:30, and it came down and created a low. Cool. What do we do within the first 30 minutes of the market? First 30-minute of the market from 9:30 to 10, which I'll denote with this line, this vertical line. Let's go ahead and do bar replay to our vertical line. So this is Friday. Data comes down. First 30 minutes, little buy up here, but we see it's very, 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 very choppy. Very, 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 very choppy. The point of control is still higher, and we have a bimodal distribution on the volume profile, right? Fancy word for we've got a node here and we've got a node here. That's all it means, right? Two magnets in the market. I'm expecting from experience for us to chop until the afternoon at this point. Okay, it's 10 a.m. We've got two nodes here. We're in this low volume node. I expect us to chop through these nodes. And so now I have a narrative for the day to where I'm going to not even look at the market till the afternoon. And I actually said this. I said this on Friday. I said, okay, guys, I said it at the open. I got confirmation of my thesis. And I basically just ignored the market. What I actually did is on ES, we're not going to switch over to, I actually just put an alert at the highs, right? Can I add an alert here while I'm in bar replay? Or is it just not going to let me do it? Well, I added an alert here at the highs, right? And then I added an alert down here at the low. So just imagine that I had two alerts kind of like this at the high and the low, right? Shown by these two lines. So that's what I did. So basically I was looking for a break of the morning range, but really just waiting till the afternoon. And what that allows you to do is I could ignore all of this chop. Look at all this chop, 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 chop. We get a little continuation here out of this consolidation right into this node, which is what I expected, right? It's still the morning here. It's about 10:50, comes back down, right at 11, okay? We're bouncing off the VAL. PLC moves down to this other node. Okay, chops back up, right? This little drop here was about 90 points. Could have caught that. But I'm ignoring all of this, right? After 12 o'clock is where I actually will even consider looking at the market. But what I really want is a sweep of the high or the low. Okay, market does some stuff here. Boom, swept the high. So because of my daily narrative, one, waiting for the afternoon and waiting for a break of the morning range, I finally have met my criteria. We swept the high in a chop day. And let's not forget, right? Because if you're trading this real time, you're zoomed in, right? You're zoomed in like this. A lot of you guys are zoomed in like this, right? You're zoomed in. You're zoomed in. You're like, oh man, what's it going to do next? I think I need to go long here. No, you need to remember your daily thesis. What was the daily thesis? Pop quiz. Inside day, doji day. So we're probably not going to run into infinity, right? This is a good mean reversion setup. We chopped up. We swept the high, right? There's people trapped here from the morning. We went and tagged them in, right? And we're very likely going to come down, okay? So you go short, boom, and there's that sell-off. A ton of people ask me, how do you predict it? Like, it's just an inside day, right? We just have imbalance here because we've been grinding up, and they're coming back into this imbalance from the morning, right? So this was a great short. Caught this perfectly from a timing perspective, right? Literally, I went short right on this break, and within 30 seconds, the sell-off had happened. Right. A lot of that in terms of being right down to the second was luck. I was going to short anyways, but it took me a while to get back to my desk. Honestly, I probably would have shorted a little bit higher. It doesn't even matter, but shorting any time after sweeping this high was a good entry on a short, right? And it's from the first sweep here down to the actual move here was 50 minutes. Okay. So still had to hold that for a little bit of time. It's a mean reversion trade, right? Sweeping the morning high or the overnight high, kind of consider those the same thing. And coming back into the mean. But the important thing about this thesis, the reason that you can anticipate it coming down, and it doesn't really matter that it came down this hard, honestly, right? We have this node here, so you could target inside of this high volume node for your take profit. But what's key here is the daily narrative. Say it with me. Daily narrative. I'm going to have a daily narrative, Forrest. And the daily narrative is going to help you time what is going to happen in the session, okay? If we know it's chopping up and we just swept the high at this point, and it's 1 in the afternoon, there's only a few hours left in the market, okay? There's only a few hours left, and I'm expecting the daily to close with a doji. I'm expecting it, okay? Same with when we come down here, right? So the day ends, it comes down. If you're thinking that the market's just going to do this, right, that would change entirely what the daily candle would look like. So we come to the daily, get rid of that. Let's get rid of this vertical line. It's making it hard to see. So we would have had a top wick with a huge body, high volume, right? Huge rejection of this area, which is outside of our expectation. Doesn't mean it can't happen. Anything can happen, but we're trading our plan. Okay, the plan is to expect a doji, which means that any huge low, I should expect to come back in within the day, right? So we're not going to get a crazy, run off sell end of day, right? Because that would break the doji. We wouldn't get the candle that we expect, right? So being able to expect these candles on the higher time frames, more so have a thesis, will help you with your timing intraday. And it's so key to catching the moves. Something that I think eludes most people because they think that these timings or these sell-offs or these buy-ups are arbitrary. Obviously, this was a catalyst with data. All right, so I had a nice little catalyst move there with data in the morning. You could have taken a long here into the afternoon if you caught that. I didn't personally. I just waited till the market was open to really get to my desk. I was doing some analysis in the morning. I had no plan to trade data. But then I did catch this, right? Went 1 for 1 on Friday, and it was a great day overall. But the timing of this wasn't just saying, oh, I'm going to look at 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. because sometimes these moves, your afternoon pivot, can be at 2 o'clock. It could be at 3 o'clock. The key here was the narrative with the sweep, right? So I'm looking from a timing perspective for a move inside after the sweep. Okay, that was the thesis, and the time that happened was at 113. So I was able to get into my short just fine. If I would have shorted down here or early, right, I would have been waiting even longer, faced some serious drawdown, things like that. So when it comes to timing the market, guys, this is one example using the daily, kind of my expectation on the daily to catch an afternoon sell-off. But you can do this across multiple time frames, and you should, okay? Do that on the daily, do it on the weekly, do it on the 1 hour, do it on the 30 minutes, right? If I have intuition about what the next 30-minute candles should look like, and I'm looking at the 5-minute chart, then my trades or the impulse that I'm looking for, okay, because we don't really want to trade the chop, we want to trade the moves in the market, the impulse should fit what I think is going to happen in my 30-minute candle. If I'm trading counter to what I think will legitimately happen, has a high probability of happening on the 30-minute, and I'm countering that on the 5, then you shouldn't be in the trade, right? That's a good signal in your brain of like, oh, I have countering thesis, which is okay. You're going to have that often. Most of the time, okay? The only time you want to be in the market is when you have a very strong thesis, a high degree of certainty of like, oh, this time frame is definitely going to do this, which means this time frame is going to do this, which means I should enter here now. Okay, that's when you want to trade. Don't make the mistake that you need to figure out every single situation, every single setup, because you really don't. Okay, if you think something on the 1 hour and the 30 minutes telling you something different, and you're looking at the 15 and you're scratching your head like, I don't know what to do. Well, then don't do anything. You know what to do. What you need to do is just not put risk on. Okay. That's good risk management as a trader. And again, you don't want to blow up your account, right? I would hate for you all to come in here, have a serious goal in mind with trading, and I want you to be able to achieve your goals. Everybody here with the MyFundedFutures community, I want you all to win. It's one of my passions. It's why I have a YouTube channel. Otherwise, I wouldn't do this and I would just trade quietly. But I like helping people and showing you guys real strategies. Make sure you join the MyFundedFutures Discord. They do education sessions, all types of cool stuff there. Subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in next week's video.